two-a-days in August, the two-time defending state champions opened workouts at Jefferson City High School. For the 35th straight season, head coach Pete Adkins was in charge.
Well, I think you're right, Rod. I've quit counting, after so many years. I don't really keep track, but, it's been a number of years, and it's always a great thrill and a lot of fun to, start a new season and see how eager the guys are and, what they're going to be willing to, put out here and what kind of a ball club we'll have, as time goes by.
1 week before the 1992 opener, the annual Red and Black scrimmage gave Jaybird backers a sneak preview. Ranked number 1 in the state's preseason poll, every opponent on the JC schedule would be pointing to their chance to upset Missouri's top high school program.
You know how it is going in the first ball game. You're never ready. You never think you're ready, and we need a lot of work yet. But it's time to play. And after 30 practices, if we're not going to be ready now, Rod, we'll never be again.
On paper, the Jays' first game against 6th-ranked Lafayette looked to be one of the toughest openers in Jefferson City history. A quarterfinal team from 1991, the Lancers came in primed for the upset. That feeling lasted about 10 seconds. Just enough time for Larry Jefferson to return the opening kickoff of the 92 season 91 yards for the touchdown. That was just the beginning. Eric Galbraith added a pair of 1-yard touchdown runs in the opening half. The Jays went to the locker room with a comfortable 28-0 advantage. Galbraith broke free in the third quarter. The senior scampered 91 yards for the score, finishing the night with 138 on the ground. Meanwhile, the Jefferson City defense, in proud JCD tradition, held Lafayette to -1 yard rushing on 25 attempts. David Neuenschwander and company put the clamps on the passing game, too. Jays opened the season in style, a 48-0 lynching of the Lancers. Week number 2 sent the Jays on one of those familiar, long, out-of-state road trips. This time facing a traditional Kentucky football power, Paducah-Tillman. After Kentucky opened the scoring with a first-quarter field goal, the Jays claimed the lead in the second. Larry Jefferson capped a 9-play drive with a 4-yard touchdown. 7-3 at intermission, Jays leading. Following a halftime pep talk, Jefferson City dominated the third quarter, scoring 3 rushing touchdowns, quarterback Matt Hafner carrying 2 in. A strong running attack amassed 284 yards, Coach Adkins giving much credit to the Jefferson City offensive line. That including Dave Neuenschwander, Quincy Briggs, Troy Lambert, and Kyle Horn. The Jays stormed past the Tillman Tornado 28-3, moving to 2-0. The next early season test for the Jays at Melville. The 4th-ranked Panthers had been talking about this game since last season, but talk ended fast when JC scored a pair of first-quarter touchdowns, Jefferson in from 13. Then after Sam Bremerkamp made the first of his 2 fumble recoveries, Galbraith ran in a second touchdown, Jays up 14-3 at halftime. The Jaybirds put it away in the third. 2 more touchdowns, including a 23-yard Matt Hafner to Galbraith connection. Jefferson City moved to 3-0 with a convincing 31-9 victory. Week number 4 marked an historic night for Jefferson City Jay football. No longer would Public School Stadium house the state's most dominating high school program. From September 27, 1992 on, this stadium would be named in honor of Jay's legendary head coach, Pete Adkins. The country's 3rd winningest coach in high school football history was honored in a pregame ceremony.
It's difficult for me to think that I deserve this. But I can assure you that my love, my devotion, my body and my soul will always be with you great Jay fans.
The Jays initiated Adkins Stadium in style, donning black uniforms for the first time ever. Jefferson City scored 6 times in the first 17 minutes against St. Louis Vashon. Hafner's 8-yard run was just the beginning. Moments later, Chris Johnson forced a fumble that led to a second Jay touchdown. After a safety, Jefferson carried in 20 yards around the far end, and it was 23-0 after 1 quarter of play. Then Hafner rambled 32 yards to make it 30-zip. Darrell Colton closed out the first half scoring barrage with a 1-yard plunge. The Jaybirds added 2 second-half touchdowns to make the final 51-zip. A memorable night in Adkins Stadium. Although the name had changed, the results inside Pete's house remained the same. The Show Me State's top high school football rivalry was next. Jefferson City at Columbia Hickman. A new face running the show for the Cupes, but Steve Luchin learned fast. The Jays are still dominating. After Tony Tinsley forced this first quarter fumble, Matt Hafner ran in the game's first touchdown. Following a Kelly Heckenberg fumble recovery, Eric Galbraith scored the second JC TD. It was 13-0. Then in the second quarter, watch the Jays' offensive line open a gaping hole. Galbraith would ramble 75 yards. Look at him go. Larry Jefferson added 2 more touchdowns to make the final 34-0. The Jefferson City defense collecting shutout number 3 in 5 games and had yet to give up an offensive touchdown all season.
We're not where we'd like to be, but we're going to try to keep working at it, and they're playing hard and pursuing real well, and tackling was a little bit shabby tonight, but we'll take this shutout against the Cupies anytime.
Returning to Adkins Stadium in Jefferson City, the 2-time defending state 5A champion Jays played host to the 2-time defending Class 4A champions St. Louis Sumner. But the Jays proved once again they are the class of any class. Following Eric Galbraith's early touchdown dive, the night belonged to Larry Jefferson. 4 touchdowns, including this, a 65-yarder to close out the first quarter. Later, on a kickoff return from his own 8-yard line, hello, Larry, 92 yards all the way for a second touchdown. 251 all-purpose yards for the senior speedster. Most importantly, the Jays socked it to Sumner 48-8, moving to a perfect 6-0 on the year. Up next, number 1 versus number 2 at Kansas City Rockhurst.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, Rod. We don't have that in Jeff City because we'd like to have that Kansas City money, you know, but we'd like to have, you know, this kind of an opportunity to have these kind of guys in Jeff City. Our guys are sort of, you know, homegrown type kids, and we take what we get, Rod, but you know, it would be great to be in a situation where you could go out and find your players and pick anybody you wanted. And
7,000 fans jammed into Rockhurst Stadium. Some Jaybird backers rocked the stadium. On the field, the Jays would knock down the Hawklets, who were touted as the 12th best team in the country, according to USA Today. This was high school football at its best. After falling behind 7-0, the Jays' Matt Hafner broke free on this 62-yard touchdown tying run. It was 7-7 at halftime. After Rockhurst regained the lead on a second-half kickoff return, the Jays rallied back with the 2 most impressive drives of 1992. Eric Galbraith climaxed a 17-play, 78-yard drive in the third quarter, spanning 9.5 minutes. The game was tied at 14-14. Then, in the fourth quarter, 21 plays, 80 yards, lasting almost 11 minutes, Larry Jefferson ran in the final 3. Incredible ball control. Pete Atkins and the Jays rocked Rockhurst 21-14.
That's great effort, great team effort by the whole squad, and we came back 2 times, so we're down a touchdown, and the kids came back, fought back, and we're awful proud of them tonight because this was a good Rockhurst football team we beat, and the kids just sucked it up and played and controlled the football, and that was the name of the game. So
the Jays returned home to Jefferson City to open district play against the Fort Zumwalt South Bulldogs on homecoming. In case you wondered, here's the true definition of homecoming.
Football is homecoming, and homecoming is football. Now, I know people have homecomings for other reasons, but in Jeff City, forget it. It's football time. And
coming from the coach who's had a lock on homecoming wins, 34 in a row, number 35 came awfully easy. 15 seconds into the game, Larry Jefferson gave Jefferson City a 7-0 lead on this 99-yard kick return. 2 minutes later, Matt Hafner carried in a 10-yard run. The blowout was on early. Senior Robert Kreiderman busted through for a 44-yard touchdown, making it 20-0 after 1 quarter of play. 2 more Hafner keepers gave the Jays a comfortable 33-0 halftime lead. 4 second-half touchdowns and another strong defensive effort gave the Jays a 61-0 homecoming shellacking of Fort Zumwalt South, the Jays' 4th shutout, moving to a perfect 8-0. Halloween Eve at Francis Howell North. Eric Galbraith out with a sprained ankle. Darrell Colton in. He rushed for a season-high 174 yards, while Larry Jefferson ran for 120, 61 of those coming on this long touchdown run in the first quarter. Jays went up 10-6. Although the opposing Knights scored twice against Jefferson City special teams, JC rolled on to a big 43-12 win. Although Coach Adkins wasn't thrilled with that victory, he had to smile about the next one. With the district title on the line, Jefferson City annihilated the Francis Howell Vikings. Larry Jefferson finished the first drive with a 1-yard plunge. Then a good old-fashioned Jaybird punt block. Sam Bremerkamp on the block. Jerry Teague recovered for touchdown number 2. Next in the second quarter, senior Robert Kreiderman added 2 more scoring runs, this 24-yarder. Then, one of the most exciting jaunts of the year, hitting about every live object on the field before hitting pay dirt. The Jays eased on to a 64-0 victory over the Vikes, holding Francis Howell to -4 total yards. Jefferson City ended the regular season as district champions, a perfect 10-0.
I think, Rod, without a question, that's one of the most difficult goals for any team, to try to achieve and attain, in the course of a season. Because in 5A football now, I guess including ourselves, there's 3 teams still undefeated in 5A football out of 64 schools. So
postseason play began at St. Charles West. The state's #1 Jays, now ranked number 13 in the National USA Today poll, would make it 20 straight victories dating back to last year. Larry Jefferson's 50-yard run put JC up 7-0 just 3 plays into the game. Jefferson added 2 more touchdowns. Hafner, Kreiderman, and Joey Lopez also scored. The Jays held St. Charles West to just 17 yards. Eric Thomas in on this sack, shutout number 6 for Jefferson City, a 41-0 victory. The Jays returned home for a state quarterfinal contest with Springfield Kickapoo. A wild night at Atkins Stadium. After a Larry Jefferson interception, Robert Kreiderman motored 71 yards down the near sideline. Jays up 7-0. Then Jefferson blocked this Chiefs punt. The Jays recovered deep inside Kickapoo territory. Eric Galbraith carried in the 1-yard touchdown. The Chiefs made things interesting for a while, setting up in the peculiar lonesome polecat, scoring on the first quarter pass play. Although more yardage followed, the only points put on the board went the J way. And there were plenty. Galbraith with 3 touchdowns, Jefferson with 2 more, including this 16-yard run on the 4th down and 1 play. A 463-yard offensive output added up to a huge 62-7 victory. The Jays kicked Kickapoo, advancing to meet Blue Springs for the 3rd straight year in the state semifinal.
I'm sure they got more skill, more talent than we got in a lot of positions, but the hearts in these kids this year is a thing that is going to make a lot of difference. And Blue Springs better play awfully well, because I know our bunch is going to be hungry when they go up there Saturday.
But the Jays' 21-game winning streak and quest for a 3rd straight state title would come to an end on the mud and slop of Blue Springs football field. A Joey Lopez 29-yard field goal put the Jaybirds ahead 3-0 after 1 quarter of play, but from there, Wildcat quarterback Nate Minnis would score 3 touchdowns, leading Blue Springs past Jefferson City 28-3. The Jays ending another fine season at 12-1.
Yeah, they did a great job this year. We're proud of them, and I couldn't say enough good things about this team, but this was just one of them afternoons when we didn't have it, and I think that was obvious after that first quarter.
We had a great team. I mean, we were small, but we were quick, and I mean, that's how we were. I mean, that's how we were successful as we were, you know. And we just had a lot of heart. We came together as a family, and when we hit that mud, it's like putting a race car in a mud pile. It's not gonna go anywhere. It's just gonna turn, and that's basically what happened.
With Jeff City football, you just learn to work hard all the time and put everything into something, and just try to keep on taking out. Even if you think you can't do it, and like Coach Atkins will just keep making you give and give and give, and to where you actually can do it, where you didn't think you could do it before.
Biggest memory that I have this year is the way that we played together. We played as a team all year. I mean, everybody was just so close. We all stuck together. When someone was down, the other person picked them up. I mean, it was no problem. If somebody scored on us, which I mean, it really didn't happen too often, but when someone did score on us, we didn't tell ourselves the game was over. We just kept going. I mean, no matter what. And, I mean, even when we played Blue Springs, it was 28-3, and we didn't give up. I mean, we didn't win, but we still were out there, and we played together, and we lost together. When we won together. When we lost together.
The first 2 state championships were real memorable, and just the excitement going through us then. And then our senior year, you know, it was a great year. We just fell short of 1 goal, but we accomplished 2 out of 3 goals, and just the togetherness we had as a team made it special.
Oh, it's been a whole lot of fun. The discipline that Coach Atkins has put us all through, I feel, will follow me through the rest of my life and my career as whatever I may choose. I can't believe it's over. All the way through the years, like, God, when's this going to be over, And when we lost, first thing I thought is I don't want it to lose, I want to be about practicing next week. I want to be out here in the weather.
That's the big thing I thought was how we came together as a team and a family. I mean, coming into, 2-day practices, I was like, well, I don't know how we're going to win. I mean, we were small. But, I mean, after, like, the first 3 games, I was like, well, we got a shot. Because, I mean, we came together and just had a lot of fun.
Probably the work and how much effort you put into it. It will hopefully, help later in life. And just everybody that I've known through the last 4 years here playing.
Everyone always talks about 2 days and how hard they are and what you got to go through. And I really think that was a fun time. You really learn things, you laugh a lot, and you really have a lot of fun with coaches and with learning what you really got to do and how the year's going to turn out.
Well, I think you take a lot of pride, Coaches always put pride in what you do, and it's got to spill over into what you do later in life and everything, because they make you work hard, and you want to work hard to achieve the goals that you set earlier in the season.
I'm going to remember it forever. You think back when you're a little kid, you go to J games, that's the big thing around here. And I always wanted to be one, and when I got to be one, I can't believe it's over already. I miss it already.
Well, most of all, I remember the hard work we did in the weightlifting and the chewings we got. I remember that, but I guess it was all worth it in the long run, because in the future to help us as men.
My class, senior class, we always, were together. And I don't know, it was kind of different to say, hey, this is going to be it. This is going to be my last year. I hope, we do what we've done the last couple of years. But
coming in, I guess I didn't have the best attitude needed to play J football, but they helped me turn that around and, gave me a positive work ethic and, getting together with the guys. We all came together, and a lot of that was instilled by the coaches, which will help me later on.
Yes, it was all worth it. I wouldn't give it up for anything else. I wouldn't give it up for the world, but it was great.
I think it gives you a little more self-confidence, and shows you how to work with people, and you learn how to interact with people and trust other people, and it's just, a lot of good friends you have.
I remember all the coaches because they were real good to me and everything, and they really pushed me. And then as I go on in life and times get hard, I just look back to Jeff City football and, I just remember if I could make it through that, I could make it through anything.
Jefferson City High School. Atkins won over 400 games and celebrated 9 state championships. But more important than the wins and losses, Pete the Man made a positive impact on the lives of players, coaches, and students. Many of those people gathered tonight to thank Coach Atkins for 37 years of coaching and teaching excellence.
He's done so much for Jeff City, you know, Jay Pride and everything, but, you know, for myself, you know, just playing football in there was a big thrill for him, and, you know, you learn fundamentals and, you know, and basics, the way of life.
It's been, you know, a tremendous pleasure for me, and to see all these guys here, a lot of them I haven't seen them for 20 years, you know, and it's tremendous and a little hard to recognize, you know, some of the guys because they've put on a little weight, but I don't think any of them lost any weight, but it's a great night, and I just, you know, feel very, very humble, you know, about this occasion.
Under new head coach Ron Cole, the Jays held their first annual media day. Several players were allowed to speak with the media, reflecting on what Coach Atkins has done for them both on and off the field.
He showed me that if you work hard and you a lot of determination, perseverance, it'll pay off most of the time in the end.
Coach Atkins, you know, he's a great coach, and it's an honor to have played underneath him. And you know, he's a good guy, and he's always there for you, you know, no matter, you know, in season, out of season.
Coach Atkins is Jeff City football. I mean, everything here is because of him. He's just a great man. He's a special person. He's always there for me. Anytime I had a problem, I'd go talk to him or something.
He was fair. In other words, he judged you only on your performance on the field. You know, he judged you on what you did, and he was completely fair. He didn't care from what background you was, you know, from what side of town you was on. Didn't make him any difference. If you were the best, you played.
Tomorrow night, we'll hear more from the players about